Deregulation is a new era for the airline industry. Managements no longer will tolerate professionals in the cockpit.
Under the company proposed two-tier pay system, newly hired pilots would earn up to 53% less than current pilots.
We're not asking to take anything away from our pilots who on average are paid over $90,000 a year. What we were asking to invoke was a new hire scale, and if you assume a 30-year career, the first 10 years would be as a second officer. That new hire scale would pay them on average $35,000 a year. That second 10 years would pay them on average from $55,000 to $60,000. And their final 10 years as captain would pay them from $100,000 to $110,000.
You have to understand where Ferris came from. He came from a hotel situation. Some of that mentality crept over into United. And, the pilots were starting to, as they say, smell the rat.
We find ourselves today separated by some very serious issues. And as of yesterday, the National Mediation Board issued the release from mediation to both parties. The 30-day cooling off period has started, and it will expire as of 0001 on May the 17th.
And now the company goes out and attempts to hire scabs and attempts to do training at the Denver Training Center and entice co-pilots to become instant captains, etc.
This is a group of potential pilots in a United Airlines training program. They told us they were put through a rush training program so United could hire them to take the place of striking pilots.
If the strike occurs on strike date 1, we are going to be making offers of permanent employment to those 600 people we've already picked, which means that if you are one of the 900 employees currently on the pilot seniority list and you withhold your service, the likelihood is that you will probably be what they say is permanently replaced.
Before the strike, we were called prehires. When the strike occurred, there was 570 of us, so that's why there's the term, the group of 570. And the idea was that the company was in protracted negotiations with ALPA. In the meantime, competitors were expanding, and that once there was a contract in place, they would need to rapidly expand to catch up.
It was the company's plan to use the 570 as strike breakers. And within a few days, that strike would be over because the 570 crossed the picket line, and the issue of the day was B scale.
We created a group of people, including some members of the 570, to join us in protecting us.
It was affectionately known as the dumpster, run by Jamie Lindsay and Bruce Lash. That committee was tasked with getting a hold of the 570, making sure that the 570 knew the company's issues, knew where the company was lying, and to keep the 570 unified.
Jamie, these pre-hire pilots are undoubtedly in a very difficult position. Since your ALPA post causes you to be in almost constant contact with these men, do you think they will cross a United pilots picket line?
Let me give you my usual lengthy answer. Absolutely not.
And we amongst ourselves would talk and felt very strongly about what ALPA was trying to do. It wasn't just for the incumbent pilots, but for the future of the profession.
Denver called in and said they wanted us to know that they have over 1,000 people in the audience with over 200 pre-hires.
We're gearing up to combat Mr. Ferris's recent efforts to negotiate directly with United Pilots by setting up a national teleconference.
I'm Paul Anthony, speaking to you via satellite from the United Pilots Strike Committee teleconference headquarters in Chicago.
Well, if you can imagine this point in time, there was no internet, and ALPA put together these teleconferences where different locations or domiciles were connected by satellite, and you had to physically present yourself there to see what was going on.
Our picket group is about ready to start if they're told to do so at the airport this evening.
On May 16th, the clock was ticking down. I was in Denver, and the strike deadline was 10 p.m. Mountain Time, and we were there waiting to see what was going to happen.
That night, Ferris actually came on the phone that we all could hear in the room. And Roger Hall, our chairman, read to him what we were prepared to do to put this strike off for a while. Ferris, without much thought at all, said, I don't think that's going to cut it. And he hung up. That's when I knew. I said, this guy is going to drive us out on the streets. This is what this had all been leading up to. He wanted to break the United Airline pilots.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been negotiating with the company through the hours. We have now come up on 1 minute past midnight. We just made another proposal to the company, one which is more liberal than the proposal that we have been standing on for about the last 6 months. I was in contact with Mr. Ferris. We do not have a tentative agreement at this point in time, and it appears to us that the corporation is going to reject this offer. With this being the situation, the pilots of United Airlines are now on strike.
And then Rick Dubinsky, who was the strike chairman, picked up the telephone and called every domicile one by one, telling them to shut the airline down.
We are on strike. Shut the airline down. Thank you. Well, as you can see, all 9 strike centers have been alerted. The pickets are out, and we are effectively on strike at this point in time.
I mean, it's just like shivers and visible disappointment in the crowd.
Wow, this is real. It's going to happen. What's going to happen to me? We'll have to wait and see, how this strike ends.
The planning the strike committee had done was just unbelievably fresh and dynamic. The company must have just been like, what in the hell have we done?
Our strike chairman, Rick Dubinsky, coined the phrase, "We will win this strike at the kitchen table."
I don't believe United thought that its pilots and other workers would be so strong and solidified. They're trying to, I think in the beginning they thought we were a divisive group, each going our own way. Nothing could be further from the truth now, thanks to family awareness.
We had wives, flight attendants, manning desks that would handle calls for us. Heck, if they needed groceries, we go get groceries. I mean, whatever it took to keep everybody in line for that 29 days.
It seems that an automatic calling machine was programmed to call each and every United employee in the city of Chicago and inform them that this meeting had either been moved or canceled. Now, I don't know who would put that kind of misinformation out, but it didn't work too well, judging from the size of the crowd, and I applaud you for your attendance.
To show their support for the strike, many United flight attendants have joined family awareness groups and have also been assisting with some of our communications efforts.
The other big surprise that happened that week was when Pat Friend, who was the leader, the chairman of the flight attendants, she said, "We're walking. We're with you. We are not going to fly these airplanes."
There's no walking away or burying our heads in the sand. This is not the time to pretend that these ALPA negotiations do not impact all of us.
Most pilots that were there treated flight attendants differently from that day on, and I know I did.
So we seen solidarity every morning, noon, and night, and it made us feel just fabulous.
I had a lot of pride in what the pilots were willing to live with, and they turned out to be a lot tougher than we thought they were going to be.
I can't think of one thing I'd want to change. It was very stressful, but it was worth it, because the fight of the day was for B-scale. And without us honoring the picket line, pilots of today would be under different working conditions.
What we all learned was that as a very large workforce, and the United Pilot Group is, if you're unified and you stick together and you take a position, you can succeed. the fact that the United pilots, and I mean the incumbent pilots, the pilots not the 570, but those that were in control of the union in the strike, they stood firm, and they drew the line in the sand, and they lifted the entire profession. And what our pilots have today was built on our predecessors, and I have nothing but gratitude for them.
We are family, my brothers and my sisters and me.
50 years ago, somebody else fought the fight for me. I've had 34 years of an absolutely fantastic career in a dynamic industry with a fantastic corporation. And right now, why somebody's trying to tear that down and destroy it. And I want to see to it that I'm going to leave this legacy for the people that are still going to be here the next 20 and 30 years.
What the strike is going to do is it's going to make it a better profession for all the pilots, not only the pilots at United Airlines, but the pilots all over the world.
At 38 years old, I wasn't even born when all of you partook in the ultimate display of unity and strength by striking against the horrid management of United Airlines in 1985. It is thanks to your bravery, courage, and sacrifice that this and my career exists today in its present form. I and my fellow 18,000 plus United pilots follow in your legacy. We will never forget what all of you did for this industry 40 years ago. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Thank you.
I was hired as a pilot at United in September of 1989. When I arrived on the property, the strike was over. You took me under your wing and you mentored me on what it is to be a United Alpha pilot. I am eternally grateful for your friendship and your professionalism and your mentoring. I understand I stand on the shoulders of giants. Mahalo for the sacrifices that you made to protect the profession by holding the line in 1985.
Thank you for your 29 days of solidarity and courage in protecting our profession. I'm certain that all airline pilots owe you guys a huge debt of gratitude, and I really appreciate the opportunity to get to say thank you for protecting our careers.